I'm Tessa Smith with Mama's Geeky. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Tessa.
Of course. Listen, I loved this movie. I found myself, laughing, crying at the end. Like there's so much going on here, but in a really good way. Like it immediately pulled me in. So for you, what was it that drew you to My Dead Friend Zoe?
Well, thank you for saying that, first of all. That's really encouraging. It's I can't possibly answer that question any other way, right? It is what it is. It was Kyle. It
Yeah.
was it was Kyle Houseman Stokes, honestly. It was, he wrote me a letter and he said, this is who I am, US Army veteran, Staff Sergeant Bronze Star. I want to tell a story to save lives.
Yeah.
And I said, let's.
Mhm. I mean, for real though, I hope it has an impact because there is like this taboo on talking about mental health and like I don't understand it. And so hopefully people feel more open to talk about their struggles or to reach out to friends who they think are struggling. And I know you probably totally agree with that, but what is the importance and significance, do you think, of that and putting it out there in this form?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's exactly what you said. It's exactly what you said. This is a veteran story, right? And so it's specific to veterans, but it is also universal. So many people see themselves, whether you served or not, right? But as it relates to veterans, what they go through is a lot of times it's not very human. And
Mhm.
so they come home and they've got all of this pain. They've got all of these confusing, emotions and issues that they're dealing with, and they do need to talk about it, but a lot of times they don't.
Mhm.
And so this film is really hopefully a source of encouragement to veterans and non-veterans alike to open up and talk about it, because that's how you begin your journey of healing, is by finally opening up. And like you said too, it's also about listening, because it's hopefully will encourage people to listen better, to listen better to our veterans and listen better to those that we know that are hurting.
Yeah, absolutely. I do love there's that one line. It's similar to like we we didn't invent PTSD. We just do it best.
Yes, that's exactly right. We don't own it. We just happen to be the best at it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so great. And I am going to hold this until this weekend, but I want to ask you, what was your reaction when you read what happens to Zoe? Because of course we're watching these flashbacks thinking she died there at the gate.
Absolutely.
So
Oh my.
what was your reaction to reading that?
Well, I knew what happened, before I even read the script, right? Like I knew what the story was, because this was Kyle's life.
Yeah.
So but I did think that it was handled so cleverly, but also gently, with the way it is revealed in the film. I thought that that was quite brilliant, and I got to big up Ali Greer, our editor, for that as well, because I think that the way it takes you by surprise,
Mhm.
I think it's actually quite important that it takes you by surprise, because I think when that happens, I think it kind of like busts you open, to then receive the climactic moment,
Mhm.
um, right after it, with, without spoiling anything. Uh,
Yeah. No, I was a mess. I was like, hold on, what's going on? I'm like sobbing. I'm like, this is
and
too much.
Ooh.
Oh, but it was so good. And you and Natalie are fantastic together. Can you talk about like building that chemistry? Because like I want to see you two in everything.
Oh, thank you. Well, I love her. I just love her, and I think that she is. I think, I'll say this again. I think that her brilliance is precise and almost mathematical.
Mm.
Um, I I think that she's the type of person who you're going to learn something new every time you watch her, right? But the chemistry that her and I had, it is so important to the film, and it is very much at the heart of the balance of comedy and drama in the film. But
Absolutely.
we didn't have to build it. We didn't have to force that. That just happened. We just landed into that. It was so authentic. and, you know, we both really appreciate each other for that.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I'm a Swiftie. So before I leave, I have to ask you, did you get to meet Travis Kelce, or was he very in the
Oh my
silent in the back?
You know what? We did not meet him yet, but he's been recently talking a lot about the film, which is really amazing, and it's been so encouraging to hear his take on it and hear him share his thoughts on it. And of course, we wouldn't have been able to, you know, we wouldn't have been able to do it. Like every dollar counted. This was the little indie film that could, right? So we're super grateful for him, and hopefully we will be able to cross paths with him soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And congratulations. This film is beautiful, and I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that.
Thank you. Thank you
For
so
having
much.
me.
Of course.